He spent millions on his image. He wasn't perfect, but he's getting better and better. Today's video, we're going to learn what a millionaire has spent on his looks and how he has proven his looks along the way. So you as an entrepreneur or somebody who wants to become one can learn from, hey, to get to this position, these might be my options and these might be things that you should want to do. Today's video, we're going to cover the improvements that he has made. We cover his strengths that he already has, the growth opportunities that he has, and what you can learn from it as an entrepreneur, as a person. First improvement that he has made is his teeth. Now his teeth used to be a little bit crooked, as you can see on screen. Now this is not something that is very beneficial because teeth are a very important part in how attractive you are. Now the option that he went for is veneers. The way veneers work is they shave the top part of your teeth off and they place a fake teeth on top of it. There's other options as well that can be useful. You could potentially choose for Invisalign. Invisalign are like braces, but they're not real braces because they're like plastic. And after that, they slowly change your teeth in a way that they will eventually become straight. Now, this is a very good option to go for. The only downside is if you have a public image like as being the alpha man, and then you walk around with like braces, this kind of like damages your brand a little bit. And therefore, I think he didn't go that route, even though it might have been a better route to go for. Also, veneers often look like they're picture perfect teeth, but there's complications with some people that they get root canals and stuff like that, and the teeth die and they have big complications, things that you don't have when you choose for Invisalign. Now, the second thing he has changed is his beard. He started with no beard when he was young and when he was fighting. This is often also because in general, young men grow less thick beards compared to older men. Therefore, he started with a look like this. Then he changed it and get like a light beard. He wore that for quite a while, and then when he went to jail, he came back with a full beard. Now this beard was not trimmed, obviously, because he went to jail. So this is how it looks, and this is not the best version to go for. So after jail, he actually changed the way he styled his beard. And the way he styled this is very interesting because he kind of changed it in a way to hide one of his flaws. When you look at Andrew Tate's face, is that his jawline is not fully developed, as in he doesn't have a very apparent jawline. Now this has a lot of benefits. For example, when you're fighting and you get hit in the jaw, there's less impact, which is great for fighters. The downside is that like aesthetically speaking is less attractive compared to when you have a very apparent jawline. So the way that he styled his beard is he has more growth in this area, therefore his jawline looks thicker and bigger. If this is the case for you as well, I recommend you to do the same thing as Andrew Tate. If that's not the case, just go for a light stubble or a light beard, the one that he has previously had, and don't go for the full out unstyled beard because that often is not the best thing to go for. So go for those two options and you will probably increase your looks overall. Now let's talk about the third point, which is muscle gain. He gained muscle after you stop fighting. Like when you fight in a certain weight class, and that means that you need to stay within a certain range. I think he was like around 80 to 90 kilos when he was fighting, and probably after you stop fighting, he gained like 10 kilos. Now, obviously, this is not all muscle. This is part muscle and part fat. The interesting part about muscle gain is that after a certain point, you're not necessarily gaining muscle for women or gaining muscle from girls. And this is very apparent when you look at, for example, Mr. Olympia, C-Bomb, like those kind of people who have an obnoxious amount of muscle. A lot of women will find that as a turn off. Yet, one interesting fact about gaining muscle is that it has a way of intimidation when it comes to men. So when you're talking with men and when you are around men, there's always this underlying threat of that you could potentially fight this person. And if you are a significantly amount bigger than the other person, speaking of muscles, the other person will feel more threatened by you. So this is probably the reason why he chose to gain a little bit more muscle. As you can see on this picture, also after he went to jail and he came out of it, he gained fat. This is probably the reason because he has less access to protein and a lot of the food was high in carbs. Therefore, he probably needed to lose a little bit of weight. As you can see, his body changed over time, and overall his body in his current state is probably the best when you look at visually aesthetics. Now, another part that he changed is his style. He actually used to be a horrible dresser. On screen, you can see some photos of like outfits that he had, and those were definitely not top tier styling. Now, for somebody who has a lot of money, this is something that is very easy to change. You can hire a stylist, you can get a custom lookbook done, like all those kind of things. His brother Tate actually is a lot better dresser. As you can see on screen, Tristan often wears very formal suits and outfits that work very well and look very good on him. Now, if you're an entrepreneur and you want to fix this, hire a stylist or get a lookbook done. This is actually something that we offer as a service for our clients, is that we make custom lookbooks with hyperlinks to web shops, so they only have to click, and then they get desired outfits, and they get amazing outfits that will boost their aesthetics. Now let's talk a little bit about the strengths that he already had. Now, first up, because he was a fighter, he already had a great body. Besides that, he also had a great length. He's about like 6'3" or 190 centimeters, which means that he was already very tall compared to most men. Besides that, he also had a great business and great fame. So he had monetary situation that could fund a fun and good lifestyle, which is attractive for women. Besides that, he has great charisma. Like, he knows how to move, he knows how to behave, and he also has great communication skills. So he's able, when he has a conversation, to have other people like him. Therefore, you also see when he has videos in the day of the life and those kind of type of videos, you can see that a lot of people around him and that he interacts with, they really like him. This is purely because of his charisma and his communication skills. Now let's talk about some things he could potentially improve. Now, this is kind of a tricky question because he doesn't have that many areas in which he can improve. Now, one thing that you will probably lean towards is that his hair. His hair is not a full head. Now, he does this for a reason, due to his father's beliefs, but also when you look at when he actually had hair, his hair wasn't like the best style, so to say. Like, he had a little bit of like curly, short hair that's probably very hard to style and often is perceived as a little bit messy. But he can get away with it due to the fact that he has so many other strengths that he can rely on. So if you're a bald person and you used to have great hair, it makes a lot more sense to go the route of like trying to get your hair back when you compare it to somebody who never really had amazing hair to begin with. Let's talk about what we can learn from this. You can always improve, even if you're successful. As we stated before, he has great strengths that are already putting him in the top 5%, if not top 1% of men. He already had so many things going for him, and even though he had those things going for him, he still chose to fix his teeth, fix his style, pack on a little bit more muscle. All those things he did purely due to the fact that he understands that even though I'm good, that does not necessarily mean that I cannot become better. So if you adopt the mentality as well, it can be very useful. Like, sometimes we have our clients that come on board and then they are very successful, but they haven't spent a lot of time in the gym. So they're a little bit chubby and that kind of stuff. If this is the case, there are a lot of benefits and a lot of value to be gained by getting a body that's in top shape. So if that's the case, definitely figure out, hey, analyze your own perspective and be like, hey, what could I potentially improve? We're actually coming with a video about the F10 method very soon, where we're going to cover, hey, what are the things that you can do to improve relatively quickly and do the things that are really good for you in aesthetic purposes and also like in character purposes, but like how can you improve very quickly. Another point that we can learn from this is that image control while famous, right? So when you are famous and when you are in the spotlight, it's very hard to do invasive changes. So like surgery, braces, all those kind of things are a lot harder when you're very much in the public image. So if you're creating content, and that means that if you get your hairline fixed, that means that you will have a fucked up hairline for the next 6 months, that will take some of a hit to the perception that other people have from you. Obviously, after it's fully done, it's very good because therefore you will look better and you will feel better, etc., etc. But for certain type of famous people, going into like invasive changes might not be the way to go, and they might choose an easier route, for example, taking veneers. Another thing that you need to realize is that, so he has tattoos, and I'm not a huge fan of the tattoos that he has. He has a very big tattoo on his chest, and overall, I think this is not being beneficial for the way that he looks. And that's also something that you need to understand. If you're thinking about potentially getting tattoos, really think about it very well. Potentially get a feedback from other people like, hey, what do you think about this tattoo? Because it's not something that you can easily fix. And once you have them, you could be pretty much stuck with it. So figure that out if that's really the way that you want to go. That was it for this video. Watch out for our future video about the F10 method, which is going to be a very good one to learn how to become better super quick. Hope you enjoyed it. Like and subscribe and comment if you have any questions or you want me to do a video about some other celebrity, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.